Hello, my name is Ellie. Today I'll be discussing postmodernism and I'll be drawing on the pop artist Andy Warhol as my example. So, postmodernism is a term widely used as a means of identifying art, objects, ideas, architecture, political theory, and other manifestations of culture. It's a movement that has been circulating since the 19th century, however, it flourished in the mid to late 20th century. Like many terms used in this subject, it is complex, and many academics note that it is difficult to define. What all leading theorists agree on is that it's a movement away from modernism, as inferred by its name. This highlights a key point in understanding the concept, as to do so we must also understand what is modernism and how postmodernism differentiates. So modernism is a concept that thrived pre-World War II in the early 20th century. So modernists valued original thought, and there was a clear distinction between high and low culture. So by that I'm referring to a value of elite arts such as opera, orchestra, and the ballet, which are forms of arts only available to those with high capital. Modernism is a structured method of thought and a way of looking at the world. In reverse, we see the postmodernism movement become far more egalitarian and accessible, suggesting that the contrast between high and low culture no longer exists. As stated by theorist Frederick Jameson, the postmodernism movement is the emergence of a new kind of flatness, of depthlessness, a new kind of superficiality in the most literal sense. That is to say, all we care about is a visual representation of something, not the history and the academic justifications behind it. Aside from being a rejection of the elite cultural establishment, there are four key characteristics that define a form of postmodernism. So there's parody, which is the imitation of a text in a demeaning or humorous way. There's pastiche, the imitation of another text in a positive way. There's self-reflexivity, the awareness of the construction of oneself, and intertextuality, which is reference to other texts within a text. So an overarching theme of these characteristics is appropriation. That is to say, postmodernism relies on the borrowing of pre-existing images and texts. Now, to apply the theory to a real example, I'd like to look at Andy Warhol. So Andy Warhol is an American artist born in the 1920s and came to fame in the 1960s, which was around the same time that the postmodernism movement picked up popularity. Some of his most well-known work is his vibrant depiction of Marilyn Monroe and the Campbell Soup piece. Warhol invited the public to see visiting the grocery store as an artistic adventure, even if it was just walking down the tin food aisle at the local supermarket and reading the labels. Through doing so, Warhol undermined the need for high capital to enjoy art. There's also parody in his work, so it's a mockery of artistic schools and established theories. He argued that anybody can be an artist and showed this by having other people do his work for which he claimed credit. It also features commercial goods and is a commentary and collaboration with capitalist mentality. It has elements of pastiche, which we see by him appropriating everyday objects and mass media into his work, such as the Campbell Soup ads and well-known celebrities of the time. It is self-reflexive in that Warhol is aware that he is breaking the rules set by modernists and was even notably cool and withdrawn as though to frame himself as opposite to Picasso and Van Gogh, who were considered devoted and passionate artists and well respected in the elite cultural scene. Intertextuality is also in abundance, as the subject matter of Warhol's work is sourced from what is around him, which is frequently mass media. By adopting many of the hallmarks of postmodernism, Warhol is a key example of the movement. As a form of art, the concept relies heavily on appropriation and the democratization of culture. So that, in conclusion, is postmodernism, with example drawn from Andy Warhol.